जय गोपीजन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी। जय गजगणनन्दना। सुंदर बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। दया निताय पत्ता पावन हरि दया निताय पत्ता पावन हरि पावन। जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा शिला प्रभुपदा। ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुकुं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम् Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining today. We are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 12, verse 26. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya. अनास्तितं ते पितृभिः अनयैरपि अङ्गकर्हिचित् अतिष्ठा जगतां वन्द्यं तद्विष्णो परमं पदम् अनास्तितं ते पितृभिः अनयैरपि अङ्गकर्हिचित् आतिष्ठा जगतां वन्द्यं तद्विष्णु परमं पदम् अनास्तितं ते पितृभिः अनयैरपि अङ्गकर्हिचित् आतिष्ठा जगतां वन्द्यं तद्विष्णु परमं पदम् अनास्तितं ते पितृभिः अन्यैरपि अङ्गकर्हिचित् आतिष्ठा जगतां वन्द्यं तद्विष्णु परमं पदम् अनास्तितं ते पितृभिः अन्यैरपि अङ्गकर्हिचित् आतिष्ठा जगतां वन्द्यं तद्विष्णु परमं पदम् अनास्तितं ते पितृभिः अन्यैरपि अङ्गकर्हिचित् आतिष्ठ जगतां वन्द्यं तद्विष्णु परमं पदम्. Word by word translation. Anastitam, never achieved. Te, your Pitrabi, by forefathers, Anye, by others, Api, even, Anga, O Dhruva, Karhichit, at any time, at Atishta, please come and live there. Jagatam, by the inhabitants of the universe. Vandyam, worshipable. Tat, that. Vishnu, O Lord Vishnu. Paramam, supreme. Padam, situation. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Dear King Dhruva, give me a second. Dear King Dhruva, neither your forefathers nor anyone else before you ever achieved such a transcendental planet, the planet known as Vishnu Loka, where Lord Vishnu personally resides, is the highest of all. It is worshipable by the inhabitants of all other planets within the universe. Please come with us and live there eternally. Purport: when Dhruv Maharaj went to perform austerities, he was very determined to achieve a post never dreamt of by his forefathers. His father was Uttanapad, his grandfather was Manu, and his great grandfather was Lord Brahma. So Dhruva wanted a kingdom even greater than Lord Brahma could achieve, and he requested Narada Muni to give him facility for achieving it. The associates of Lord Vishnu reminded him that not only his forefathers but everyone else before him was unable to attain Vaikuntha, Vishnu Loka, the planet where Lord Vishnu resides. This is because everyone within this material world is either a karmi, a jnani, or a yogi, but there are hardly any pure devotees. The transcendental planet, known as Vishnu Loka, is specially meant for devotees, not for karmis, jnanis, or yogis. Great rishis or demigods can hardly approach Brahma Loka. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Loka is not a permanent residence. Lord Brahma's duration of life is so long that it is difficult to estimate even the duration of one day in his life. And yet Lord Brahma also dies, as do the residents of his planet. Bhagavad Gita 8.16 says, Abrahma bhuvana loka punar avartino. Except for those who go to Vishnu Loka, everyone is subjected to the four principles of material life, namely birth, disease, old age, and birth, death, old age, and disease. The Lord says, Yat gatvana nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. The planet from which one's going, no one returns, is my supreme abode. Bhagavad Gita 15.6. Dhruv Maharaj was reminded, you are going in our company to that planet from which no one returns to this material world. Material scientists are attempting to go to the moon and other planet, but they cannot imagine going to the topmost planet Brahmaloka, for it is beyond their imagination. By material calculation, traveling at the speed of the light, it would take 40,000 light years to reach the topmost planet. By mechanical processes, we are unable to reach the topmost planet of this universe. But the process called Bhakti Yoga, as executed by Maharaj Dhruva, can give one the facility not only to reach other planets within this universe, but also to reach beyond this universe to Vishnu Loka planets. We have outlined this in our small booklet, Easy Journey to Other Planets. Very grateful, Sham Kishore Prabhu, for this opportunity. Seek all of your blessings before even I speak on this. When I was given a topic yesterday and when I read this verse, I realized, oh Krishna, I'm talking about something which I should actually meditate on every moment, but I'm not doing that. So it's very difficult for me to speak on this verse. But at the same time, such a glory, such a wonderful aspects of Krishna consciousness is being narrated here. There is one thing to understand, to join a process. However, when you see someone attaining the destination of that process, that is even more glorious. This is wonderful, actually. Because like when we talk about the students who join university, like when I went to India and I was just going there, so there were huge banners about some university or some classes or whatever it is. This guy got a job at this university. Sorry, this guy got a job in this company and he's earning this salary and this salary. Now, the outcome of any endeavor which we put, when it is broadcasted in that way, then person understand the authenticity of that process. When we hear so many processes are there, and I just want to share this wonderful point, which so I went to one of my counseling council council group devotee. We're very close. She's like my sister. And then she was mentioning about what is such a big deal to preach there in America? You come and preach here. And I'm like, what's the point? This is a very interesting aspect, and we have friendly relationships, so we get that zone also. So she mentioned here, there you preach with the blank slate. When you preach here in India, people have so many other conceptions of God. And to bring them to 16 nouns is like a huge affair. We have to work for years and years and years. So the point here is that even in bhakti, when we come in, we bring those misconceptions or we bring those so-called conceptions of attaining the supreme. And when we read such verses, we understand the goal is as lofty as the process. The process may seem to be simple, which is the truth, but because we bring so much of burden with us, the same process which is simple becomes very difficult. Like there was a scientist. He came to a village. And there was a farmer. So what this farmer did, he put a bell under the bull and tied to the pole. And then the bull will rotate around, and that's how the farming will be done. So this guy said, the scientist said, so what is this? He said, you know what this is? So he said, this is what is going on. He said, how about the bull stops? He said that the bell stops. Then I get to know that the bull is not working. And the scientist said, how about if it rotates like that and doesn't move? And then the farmer responded, the bull is not like a human. This is a very interesting aspect. We consider animals to be dull-headed and we think ourselves as more intelligent, but we create more chaos in the material world than the simple animals can do actually. This is the unfortunate situation of this world. So when Dhruv Maharaj is coming here, one understand what is required to go back to Godhead. It's not an easy affair. And we have been reading what is the contribution of Dhruv Maharaj. Maharaj said a beautiful point in yesterday's class or in the previous class. He was mentioning about the austerity. And I had this question which Maharaj already answered in the class about renunciation, about austerity. What is austerity for us? Austerity for us, Maharaj is mentioning chanting 16 rounds, following 4 regulative principles, that is austerity. Now, for us, that's one aspect of it. But the second aspect of it, to attain Vaikuntha, is very important aspect is to develop the consciousness of Vaikuntha. I was just hearing when Prabhu gave me the class, what am I going to speak on this topic? So I started listening a class by my spiritual master. There is no competition in Vaikuntha. And this verse was being spoken. Yeah, that is one aspect, but this is another aspect, which is I'm going to stop sharing my screen and go back here. We have read this Canto 3, chapter 15, which is talking about the spiritual world. And in this case, it is mentioned, Lord Brahma, this is again, a lot of us are watching that movie of Prahlad Maharaj. And what is the situation of Diti? Now the greatest demons have actually taken the shelter in her womb. And there is darkness everywhere. And then the Devatas approach Lord Brahma, please save us. And Lord Brahma is explaining how this world even to the planet of Brahmaloka, everyone is subjected to the four miseries: birth, old age, disease, and death. Now, disease may not apply for the heavenly planet, and it is said, this is very nicely mentioned, that even in heavenly planet, when someone's quota or someone's time is over, not that they have to become old, they just leave that position and then go back to the lower planet or whatever it is from that perspective. However, in this world, the world we are living in, we are fortunate, we get all four. In this world, people are competing, I want more, I want more. So we are fortunate, we have all four. Brahmaji has only a couple of them. So here it is mentioned, although flowering plants like Mandara, Kunda, Kuraba, Utpala, Champaka, Arna, Punaga, Nagakshera, Bakula, Lily, and Parijat are full of transcendental fragrance, they are still conscious of austerities performed by Tulsi. For Tulsi is given a special preference by the Lord, who garlands himself with Tulsi leaves. Next one. The inhabitants of Ankuta travel in their aeroplanes made of lapis and lazuli, emerald and gold. Although crowded by their consorts, who have their large hips and beautiful smiling faces, they cannot be stimulated to the passion by their mirth and beautiful charms. The ladies in Vaikuta planet are as beautiful as goddess of fortune herself. Such transcendental beautiful ladies, their hands playing with lotuses and their leg bangles tinkling, are sometimes seen sweeping the marble walls, which are bedecked at the intervals with golden borders, in order to receive the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And I was thinking about when the Janmashtami is coming, connecting this verse about how Dhruv Maharaj is being welcomed to come to the spiritual Vaikuta planet. And these Vaikuntavasis are telling, Vishnu Dutas are telling, saying that nobody else actually before achieved this planet which you are receiving. And then here one sees what is the consciousness needed to go back to Vaikuta planet. My spiritual master was mentioning about this point, that all the bumblebees, all different birds, the most beautiful singing they can do, but when another person is singing, they actually keep their mouth shut. Why? Because let this bumblebee glorify the beautiful qualities of Krishna. Krishna is so beautiful that when one sees Krishna, they actually lose any other interest in this material world. This is a pastime which happens. So Srimati Radharani, this is monsoon season. In India, there was a monsoon season, so I wanted to hear some pastimes on monsoon season. So Srimati Radharani wants to come to Barsana for Teej festival. I don't know what is other, most of us know what Teej festival is. So she wants to come to Barsana and she sees a messenger coming far away and she is crying. And then Vishaka Sakhi and Lalita Sakhi ask, what is the matter? Why are you crying? She says, my parents did not invite me. Looks like they have forgotten me. When will the messenger come to actually invite me? So you see that messenger who is going there, he's from Barsana. Go and call him. So Mother Vishaka Sakhi asked this question. How are you so sure that he is from Barsana? This messenger is from Barsana. So Srimati Radharani says, even the air, if it comes from fragrance, even the air when it comes from Barsana, I can recognize. This is the beauty of Barsana Dham. Srimati Radharani, she says, without even seeing someone, I can see that person is from Barsana. And then they go and call this messenger. And Srimati Radharani tells, do you know my parents? I'm from Barsana. And the messenger says, who doesn't know about you and your family? And she requests him, you go and call my parents, tell them I haven't got the invitation for Teach Festival. I'm eager to come there. And he says, I will immediately go. And he goes there. And then when he goes there, then he informs and they immediately sends Sridama. And Sridama comes here to invite Srimati Radharani. And Srimati Radharani is very happy that she is going there and she reaches there. And she asked Mother Kirtida, where is the festival? She says the festival is in Prem Sarovar. Very beautiful lake. We went there actually. So they are preparing for this festival, and Krishna gets to know. And Krishna wanted to meet Srimati Radharani. And he goes to Madhumangal. Madhumangal, you are the intelligent person here. Can you arrange something? What has to happen? And I'll cover this pastime to a certain extent too, and come back to this topic. So he says, yeah, everyone gets married. Whoever gets married in Vrindavan, they go and get the blessings from Srimati Radharani. So I have a close friend of mine who is getting married. So we will arrange something. So the marriage ceremony is going on for Madhumangal's friend, Madhumangalji's friend. And then the 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 mother of a boy, she tells the new bridegroom, never ever look at the rascal Krishna. And she gives him elaborate description that you should never see him. So at that time, Krishna and Madhumangal enters. And then the bridegroom, who is, thank you. Then she does a side glance at Krishna. And what happens to her? Completely lost the consciousness. She's about to faint seeing the Krishna. And when she sees Krishna, she sees this beautiful bluish complexion form of Lord Krishna, and she faints. Now they are figuring out what has to be done. So the pastime continues, but coming back to this pastime, when we talk about the beauty of Krishna, in this aspect, it is being mentioned about the beauty of Vaikuntha Loka, especially Lord Vishnu Loka. Everyone in this world, in the spiritual world, is only behind what is giving pleasure to Krishna. Everyone is thinking here, there are beautiful flowers, but they appreciate the beautiful quality or beautiful austerities or wonderful austerities which are performed by Tulsi Maharani. And they want to take a step back, and they want Tulsi Devi to be glorified. Similar way, when the clouds are making noise, everyone just keeps quiet. Or when a bumblebee is singing the glorification of the Lord, the cloud stops. So when we talk about the Vaikuntha consciousness, when we talk about the consciousness, one has to go back to Vaikuntha, is to be very sensitive or be very mindful about other devotees around us. Like Maharaj was mentioning about, imagine a person like us. I'm thinking about myself. Go to the spiritual world with my current consciousness. Seeing this beautiful flower plain and seeing the most beautiful persons or beautiful female across, just seeing that, we just get crazy. Maharaj says we just become crazy. Because we cannot fit ourselves into the spiritual world with the consciousness we are in. When I was living in Pune, I just went there for a few days there. And the house where I was staying is just few steps behind the temple, which is as good as the current situation. Even the helpers there are Brahman initiated. Imagine the consciousness. You see the conch being blown in one house at 7 o'clock, you will hear another conch at 7:05, 7:10, 7:15. The whole atmosphere is surcharged with this consciousness, thinking about Krishna, sharing about Krishna. There is no other life there other than devotees. You just morning when you go to work, you still see devotees. When you come back, you see devotees. So for some of them, when they go to work, they see devotees around because they work in the same office. They travel together to the office and they discuss Krishna Katha. This is the consciousness. This is what the whole life around these devotees. I was thinking about, isn't that wonderful? Isn't that wonderful? That you have everyone around you just thinking about Krishna, talking about Krishna. And even if you want to forget Krishna, you don't have an opportunity to forget Krishna. So then when I was coming back, my daughter asked me, So how was that? How was the trip? How was the special trip to Pune? And it made me think. And this realization came to my mind. It is better to be a frog in a small well than being a frog in bigger ocean. What is the difference? The difference is that in Krishna consciousness, developing that consciousness is one aspect and retaining that consciousness is another aspect. Sometimes we live in those world of silos, though apparently externally I'm looking like I am performing devotional service, or I'm being in the temple, I'm being surrounded by devotees around. Nobody knows what is going within my consciousness, because the challenge is that I don't have devotees to share my heart to. I don't have devotees whom I share my struggles. And I was feeling I'm so fortunate here, because rather than being an ocean surrounded thinking that everything is going great in my spiritual life, and when I leave my body, I realize people think, oh, he may have gone to the spiritual world, but I realize I landed up in another womb. It is more difficult, and that's the most pathetic situation to be in, when someone get an opportunity to practice devotional service and reach almost to the crescendo, or he or she is growing in bhakti very nicely, but at the same time just being like a stale water. There was a news which was being shared that they spent crores of rupees to clean a lake. And then again, there was that green substance which comes on the top. Bhakti is exactly like that. Even if you clean, even you perform on that, and now if I become, oh, you know what, everything is great. I come to Sunday feast, I attend every program, I perform various activities which I do, like coming for Mangalarti and everything. I'm just thinking about myself. But in the core of my heart, I have to always think, am I developing my consciousness to enter Vaikuntha? Can I enter to the spiritual abode? Where am I heading towards? Janmashtami, one Janmashtami past, second past, third past. What is happening? Is my consciousness being changed? Am I being sensitive about other devotees? Is this knowledge which is coming in my head, is it going in the heart or still staying in my head? And as long as this information, this knowledge is staying in the head, we will never be able to develop the consciousness of Vaikuntha, because that knowledge is not transformed. It did not become wisdom. And what is needed to actually make that knowledge into wisdom is to cry every minute that I am not there yet. When will I become there? When will I get there? Maharaj was beautifully mentioning about Balram Jayanti is even more important than Janmashtami. Why? Because what we lack is the spiritual strength. Spiritual strength is not just coming to Mangalarti. Spiritual strength is not just attending every program. The spiritual strength is about developing that consciousness which we don't have, and we have struggled to develop that consciousness. One has to really think, why am I not developing? And one has to understand the piteous situation we are in, where I have to really call out Lord Balram's mercy that I really need help here. Another Janmashtami has come. It's nice to attend festival, it is nice to participate in various services, but what is my consciousness behind rendering these services? Am I actually pleasing Krishna? Because the goal of life is samsiddhir haritoshanam. I want to do every activity. I want to perform every activity with that consciousness that am I pleasing Krishna? Like I was just talking to my daughter, and I was just mentioning about how fortunate you are that your mother was chosen to go back to spiritual world. But what does it mean for us? For us to actually understand that aspect is to understand what was her consciousness. I remember I was just sharing with my counselor. So during COVID, she had a desire that we should still have fancy dress competition. And she figured out a way that we can do it virtual. And then Yugal Kishore Prabhu liked that idea. And Yugal Kishore Prabhu told her, Amma, if you ask me, you should give the seva to this person who has been doing it for years. I said, yes, Prabhu, please. And she supported in all aspects. And there is one aspect which happens, because externally we may perform certain activities, but at home we come and hey, this person did like this, that person did like that. And when she left, I lost the biggest friend, because we were open heart to each other. Everything I had in my heart, she knew it. Everything she had in her heart, I knew it. She shared everything. Not a single time she said, I was the one who created that idea. I was the one who had this seva. So I was just telling her, in spiritual world, coming back to the point, there is no competition. Why? Because everyone is looking to please Krishna. And in spiritual world, there is no numbers, there is no limitation, there is no, like in university, someone has to enter to a particular position. There are only certain number of students can enter. But in spiritual world, everyone can enter. Not that only one person can perform a particular service. There can be all the devotees who come to actually perform various services for pleasure of Krishna. And this is what we see. What happens when Mother Yashoda wants to cook for Krishna? She invites Srimati Radharani. And what does Srimati Radharani do? She actually cooks for Krishna. She feeds all the gopas. And she is the last one to eat. Imagine Srimati Radharani, who is the epitome of bhakti. Krishna is mad after her. Whole Vrajabhumi is about her glorification. What is the example she is setting? So, imbibing that Vaikuntha consciousness is to understand I should not be overstepping on anybody's foot when I'm performing a service. Because ultimately, to please Krishna is to please his devotees. If I do my service at the best and I do everything perfectly, meticulously done, but if I offend other devotees, if I criticize other devotees, or if I say something which closes the gate of other devotees to grow in bhakti, will it please Krishna? Definitely not. I was just, this is one incident which happened and I want to share this. So there were few devotees who came together. They wanted to create a band in spiritual life. They wanted to actually go far to actually talk about even music can be a preaching mission, can be a preaching way to actually spread Krishna consciousness. So they brought in various instruments. They were playing various instruments, and they created a band. They did a first performance. Top class performance. So, few devotees who considered to be senior devotees, they wrote a letter to temple management that this is not right, this is not Krishna consciousness. And then what has to happen is our kids will be spoiled. So this person who was their part of leadership, he took that letter and went in front of this band. And he read that letter. And these devotees were budding devotees. What had happened just after that, that person, whoever was playing, all of them left Krishna consciousness. This is a true story. They all left Krishna consciousness. Now, what is important? Is that way that guitar should not be played, or this instrument should not be played, or this should not be played? There are principles and there are details. And one has to understand how the principle and details have to be connected. One can be hard or conservative about their life, but not in others' life. And this is what Vaikuntha consciousness is all about. That I be very sensitive about my spiritual life. The other devotee is connected to Krishna, and at the same time, my spiritual life is dependent on every devotee around me. Like I was just thinking about this devotee care group which we have. Trust me, it's extremely difficult to run that because everyone here is so busy. When I went there in Pune, I realized, wow, even if I need a help for the cooking, the Brahman initiated, I don't have to worry about consciousness either. Wow, this is what a great situation to be in. I can just comfortably read, I can comfortably chant. I don't have to worry about all this morning to evening work. But I realize, and this is, I'm just sharing my realization, it's not necessary, it applies to everyone. It's better to be underwater than over the water. Why? Because every minute I realize I have dependence on Krishna. For me to get one morsel of food, I have to depend on Krishna. And when that happens, this sensitivity automatically comes when I realize I should do this and I shouldn't do this. What's the point if I have a service and I do meticulously and rot here in the material world, another devotee who may not be doing perfectly and goes back to spiritual world? The goal is not that I do the, of course, I should do that for the pleasure of Krishna, whatever activities I'm performing to the best of my ability. But the goal is not to do that. Goal is to develop love for Krishna. This is the means. Though the goals and means are the same, but it is all about consciousness. When I went there, and my kids have grown up, and they started analyzing things, and they were surprised how India is spiritual life is really so much going on. We went to the another corner. Jabalpur is a small city. Stone temple is being built there. Went to the far end somewhere there. I saw Journey Home there. Wow, where is this book coming from? When after that, we went to the barber shop. When we went to barber shop, this guy attains Bhakti Vriksha there. And he was telling philosophy from Bhagavad Gita rather than doing the business. We were discussing that Krishna Katha. Then another place I went, I entered, I had some investment done and they were stuck and I went there to this bank. Only thing which I buy mistakenly, I had my bead bag. So this person is an officer there in this bank. Are you coming from ISKCON? Please have a seat. They started offering respect. And I'm like, hold on. And I'm not wearing a dhoti kurta, but I realized, oh, I'm holding a bead bag. Just holding a bead bag. Imagine what a treatment you can receive. What does it mean for us? For me, it means is what an example I'm setting when I'm holding a bead bag, when I'm wearing a tilak. Went to another place. The watchman in the bank. कौन से मंदिर जाते हैं आप? I said this temple. Oh, I go to this temple. क्या help चाहिए? There was so many people in the line. This guy put me aside. This devotee, not guy. He take me aside. What do you need? You take my number and you call me. And he helped me so much to get that issue resolved. Everyone there is practicing Krishna consciousness. What does it mean for me? For me, it means is when I'm wearing a dhoti kurta, when I'm wearing a bead bag, for me is to be an example for others to follow, not become an example where people run away from Krishna consciousness. There are a lot of people who come in actually just to see what these devotees have changed, how they are training, how they are treating other devotees. And that makes a huge difference. People don't need philosophy in this world. People need examples, a character who shows this transformation. And this is what Dhruv Maharaj is showing. What is Dhruv Maharaj saying? Just we saw a few verses back when Dhruv Maharaj is fighting with Yakshas, right? Because his brother is killed. But when Lord Brahma comes to stop, he immediately stops. Why? Because for me, my ego is not important. For me, the instructions of superiors or instructions of senior is very important. Every moment, Maya is testing all of us, even while I'm talking right now. What does it mean for us? Every moment I have to take shelter of Krishna. Every moment I have to test whether I'm being Krishna conscious or whether I'm being Maya conscious. And how will that happen? Hare Krishna. How will that happen? When we use this opportunity, when Lord is most merciful, to beg Krishna, please help me, Balramji, please help me. I want to get there. I'm not there yet, but I have to get there. Please help me. How do I get there? every moment dependent, every moment calling out, please help me. Very wonderful point which Yugal Kishore Prabhu was mentioning. When he went to His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj's room, I don't know about what happened in the background, but I know he came and rode and gave a class. But when he is in the room, what is he? Krishna, please help me. Imagine, he is the associate of Lord Chaitanya. Why he has to call, please help me? If he has to call, which means for us, every moment is to call to Lord Chaitanya, please help me. And that's the whole idea about Janmashtami, to invite Krishna in our heart. And that will happen when we have our consciousness like Vaikuntha. So I wanted to summarize what we discussed today. We discussed about this Dhruv Maharaj's pastime when Dhruv Maharaj is welcome to actually enter the Vaikuntha planet. And we talked about going to Vaikuntha is to develop the consciousness of that. And being attracted to Krishna, we spoke about this Barsana pastime. Maharaj was talking about 4 Rupa Madhuri, Leela Madhuri. He was mentioning about these 4 aspects of Krishna, to be attracted towards those and meditate on that every minute, and every minute thinking about, am I being Krishna consciousness or Maya conscious? Am I being sensitive about other devotees' feeling? And that also includes our family member. Don't think that if you are giving left and right to your husband and wife, they are also a devotee. Before I left, just one day before, Chandramouli Maharaj called me and he told me, what is this going on here? Why the husband and wife don't understand how to deal with each other? Aren't they devotee? Very important aspect which we need to understand. It's not that whomever I know close by, they just have a bitter feeling about us and rest of all everyone is good. Right? So any reflections or comments? You want to add something, Hare Krishna Maharaj? No, you go ahead. Go ahead, Prabhu. You want to add something? Because of him, I was able to speak anything. Go ahead, Mataji.
Thank you for what a wonderful, powerful platform I love this. If I don't my question confuses me. My question is, Prabhu, you said very wonderful points that in India, wherever you go, you see the devotees, right? Being associated with devotees is very wonderful. And you mentioned one point that we should be very sensitive to the devotees, upcoming devotees, at least new devotees. Like, that's really good point. Though we should be very, very careful. So I always, I don't know, I confuse about this sometimes, that while in the process of encouraging devotees, sometimes, because Srila Prabhupada, whatever said, if we follow exactly, then we will get perfection. Anybody, even though the material world is, Kaliba is progressing, what I feel that if he says whatever exactly we follow, that is the best one. But sometimes while doing this, encouraging other devotees, if someone deviates from what he said, right? So I can't explain exactly what I was thinking, but you understand this, that someone wants to encourage someone, and they were okay. Maybe what Srila Prabhupada said is the opposite sex should be in limit always. Even Prabhuji's Mataji's Prabhuji's Prabhuji. In that way, if suppose it crosses, it's not aligning with the Srila Prabhupada teachings, wherever, externally, internally, we don't know, but for the people who look from outside, then what is the boundary line from how we understand this encouraging other devotees and the following Srila Prabhupada instructions?
Boundary line for the preacher?
Preacher as a devotees.
Yeah, so boundary line for someone who is preaching others. Is that right?
In the community, as I said, that you said that we should be example for others, right?
Couple of aspects on that, and please forgive me if I say it correctly, because I'm still a human, still a practicing devotee. Nothing imperfect in material world. Whatever you do, it's always tinged by a mode of three modes, and especially passion and ignorance. There is no sattva is very less. So even if you perform a certain action, it may be up to a best thing. Still, there may be few devotees or there may be few people who will misinterpret. Now there are multiple ways to take it that goes in different dimension, that it's for my purification or is that something for me to learn and all that stuff. That's a separate thing altogether. So try your best and ultimately leave to Krishna. That's the first aspect. The second aspect is that how far to go and where to draw the boundary. I just always remember this example of kabaddi. There is so much to learn from that. What is the principle of kabaddi? You go on the opposite side and you bring that person to your side. At the same time, it shouldn't happen that you stay there. You're with me so far, right? You know about kabaddi game, right? We all know about kabaddi game. Now, for me to go that side, I have to be strong myself spiritually when I go and deal with other people who are not at that consciousness. If my consciousness is not pure, if I go in the arena where I'm not comfortable with, and everyone knows their gray area, whether you accept or not accept, everyone knows these are the areas I shouldn't touch upon. If I still do that, that's my issue. But I know this is my gray area, I shouldn't enter there. So the best option is, even if I'm a best player in kabaddi, that's my gray area, let's not do that. Or go with someone who is spiritually strong so that he can bring you or she can bring you back. That's how it is. So when I go there, if I'm spiritually strong, I will bring it back. But it shouldn't happen that I go on the other side and I get caught and I can't come back. So that's the whole principle. I don't know if I don't have an exact point which you have, and at the same time, but the philosophy is that one has to be spiritually awake to actually do that. That's first aspect. The second aspect, which works like a charm, the more we read and more we hear, our connection with Chaitya Guru, our connection with Paramatma becomes so strong. Every fraction of second you perform a certain action and activity, Paramatma tells you, don't do this, or you did this wrong. And in this case, they also, Paramatma Chaitya Guru helps you. If you somehow spoke something nicely and thought that this was the perfect medicine for the other person, but he took it in a wrong way, Paramatma will also tell you, go and beg forgiveness from this devotee. It's not important who, I don't care about who is wrong, but it is about, for me, this is the beautiful example of Rupa Goswami. When he is that Rupa Goswami who is chanting and he goes into trance, and there was one person who was just walking. He was not able to walk properly, and Rupa Goswami was smiling. And at the time, this guy felt offended, though Rupa Goswami did not want to offend this person. And he went and begged forgiveness from him, that devotee. Not that he actually wanted to do that. He didn't even explain why did I do what I do. But he begged forgiveness from that devotee. So it's very important to understand these principles and go there, but at the same time, go with someone. If I'm not confident if I can handle that, this is second thing. And third thing is also always ask the feedback and you check your consciousness. Like one time, Prabhuji was mentioning about when he went for preaching, the thing is you should not shake hand with the other person who is karmi, because you borrow that consciousness. So you see that consciousness also being affected. When I came from India, I was in a Pune for a very small period of time, but rest of the places I was everywhere, was eating anything and everything pretty much, of course, following four regulative principles. I realize I have to actually groom my consciousness by for 1 week. At least I have to really increase my practice so that I can actually come back to this and I could sense where is my consciousness, what am I doing, what am I thinking. That's how I can think about. I don't know if I answer your question correctly. Thank you. So I think we are already 9:15. I had a meeting which started 9 o'clock. So we will end here. Please, no questions and reflections. Sorry. So humbly request you all. My only desire to come here and give this class, I'm being selfish and I've been always selfish and I'll probably remain selfish for the rest of my life, is to request you all to please pray for me and my family, we want to develop that consciousness which I spoke about, because I don't have that. And why spoke? So that I can beg you all, and you are already at that platform. If you grant me that blessing, if you pray for me, ultimately that will happen. Thank you so much. La Prabhupada ki Jai. Shri Krishna Janmashtami Mahotsav ki Jai.